Rethinking the renaming of Dundas Street. Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist for the Toronto Sun. Well, 3 former mayors of Toronto have come forward with a joint letter saying it's time to rethink the renaming of Dundas Street. Art Eggleton, David Crombie, John Sewell, all of them stepping forward to say the historic record doesn't support the idea that Henry Dundas, who the street was named for, was anything but an abolitionist. He believed in getting rid of slavery. Now, those who wanted to rename Dundas Street said he delayed the abolition of slavery and the slave trade in Britain by 15 years. That's not accurate, and it's something that they point to. They point to the 1792 vote, where Dundas added the word gradually to a motion put forward by William Wilberforce, one of the preeminent people in the entire planet in the history of getting rid of slavery. Wilberforce had tried to get such motions and laws through the House of Commons before, but it had never worked. Dundas suggested add the word gradually, and he did, and the motion passed. The next week, according to the historic record put out by the City of Toronto in their arguments for why Dundas should be removed, well, the man showed up in the House of Commons with a 12-point plan on how to get rid of slavery. He was trying to find a common ground between those who wanted to keep it or felt it needed to be dismantled over the long term and those who wanted it gone immediately. The full abolitionists said it had to be gone within 5 years. The plantation owners in the West Indies and those who supported them said it couldn't even begin to happen in less than 10 years. He suggested 7.5 years, which would have meant at that point, slavery would have been abolished January 1st, 1800. His 12-point plan also included ensuring that any child born to a slave did not become the property of the slave owner. That meant the child would be free, emancipated. That's not something the abolitionists had even pushed for at this point. They just wanted the trade in slaves to end. He called for the education of the children of slaves. He called for changes to British treaties and how British ships could trade in certain ports when it came to slavery. All of these things would have chipped away at the slave trade. It would have ended slavery as well with full emancipation, something that didn't happen for another 30-odd years. But Dundas's plan was ripped apart. The abolitionists couldn't stand it. They said it didn't go far enough, fast enough. But that move of dismantling his plan and pushing forward with an immediate removal of the slave trade couldn't get support in the House of Lords, and so it fell apart. Dundas had argued for something that was possible, not something that would happen immediately. Had his plan passed in 1792, it would have sped up the abolition of the slave trade, which didn't happen until 1807. Is it really fair to say he delayed getting rid of the slave trade? I would argue that he tried and failed at doing the opposite. He tried to find a compromise that could actually be passed, which is what politics is all about, the art of the possible. When you look at the rest of the historic record of Dundas's career, including fighting to get rid of slavery and making slavery absolutely abolished in Scottish law, where he was from, by defending a slave who had escaped from an owner who had brought him to Scotland from Jamaica. He did that in 1780s. This was not a man who was in favor of slavery. This was a man who looked to do what he could to get rid of something that was entrenched in society at the time. The 3 former mayors of Toronto, Eggleton, Crombie, Sewell, they see that. They see the reality. Hopefully the rest of council and current mayor Olivia Chow do the same. Let us know what you think. Drop a comment down below. Share this on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.